use food for fuel, but I also realize how much I can eat, whereas I used to be, you know, such a restrictor of food. You know, I wouldn't be able to eat a whole bagel or a whole banana. That would be like the worst thing ever. Whereas now, like, I can, you know, eat 2 bagels if I'm told, and it don't question me, because I see what I'm using it for, and that if it's good food, then you're not going to turn into fat. So for me, it's given me that knowledge of what a good healthy relationship is with food. And even when you're in peak season, when you're going through your prep, again, you know what you're doing and you've chosen to do that, and it's for a short time, but you're always listening to your body. Whereas I think a lot of people don't tend to understand, or they're not in sync with their body. They're just, you know, shoving food in and not thinking about it. Whereas as a bodybuilder, we tend to be really honed in on our digestion, how we feel when we're doing this, what's this done to us, you know. And so I think it is, for me, it's been a really good journey to repair my relationship with food, and going forward. And my children now, they, you know, we all sort of meal prep to a degree, because they're all doing sports in different degrees, but it's taught them as well, like, how to eat properly. And I'm not saying 100%, you know, because we do go out, and, you know, they're young, they'll go out and have a McDonald's or something, which they should do. But again, they'll know if they've done that a bit too much, they'll be like, oh, my skin doesn't feel great, I don't feel great, and they'll know why. Whereas I think a lot of people now, they'll just get into that thing of, you know, every day on the way to work, going and get this, or on the way home, and not thinking about it. So the sort of the spin-off that you get from bodybuilding, for me, it goes into your everyday life. And like I say, my kids now know how to eat and what food would do for them and fueling their training. So yeah, I'm really grateful that I found it and got into it.
Yeah. Are you like a transformation coach? I think I've seen like
yeah, so I I've got a couple of businesses, but then I did my PT qualification first in France, and then I redid it 2 years ago in the UK. So now I've got I was PTing at a gym, but because I'm in the middle of moving, I'm just doing online clients at the moment. But it's, yeah, transformations. And mainly for me, the thing is like I said, I'm a single mum. I'm a nan. I've had multiple jobs. At one time I was like running from 8 jobs, between 8 jobs. And people say they haven't got time to do something, but I know that you can work that time in. It's just
8 jobs. You had 8 jobs?
Yeah, I did. For many years I had, yeah, 8 jobs. It was
like when you say 8 jobs, like on what, like you had one job there, and
yes,
but
I was doing
you
a
left
lot
that
of
job?
yeah, I was doing a couple of cleaning jobs, a couple of waitressing jobs, and I was doing some care in the community. So I was doing like night stays. Then I've always had my business, which is French accounts and translation, PTing. So yeah, it was like literally ping ponging just to, you know, just to do what I needed to do, really, for the kids, and for us to, you know, 3 children, you need 3 salaries at least.
Yeah.
But so for me then, for PTing, when I want to tell people how important it is that they lift weights, no matter, you know, what age. For me, the younger you start, especially with kids nowadays that are on their phone, they're always hunched over, there's no age, so you're never too old to start either. But also for those people out there, those parents that think they can't find the time, you know, there's always ways to be able to fit in time. And like I said, I do it to the extreme. I train a couple of hours when I do train 5 times a week, but not everyone needs to do that. You know, you can get in and have a really decent session in 20-30 minutes, as long as you're dedicating that time to it, and you can even do it at home. So the online coaching is really to tailor to everyone's lifestyle, what their goals, and that I'm there to support them. So, you know, WhatsApp's great now. I can check in with them daily and just see if they're having a bit of a crappy day. I can make sure that I'm there saying, okay, well, let's jig it around, let's do this. Or if they're at work and they realize they're going to be late, rather than, you know, thinking, right, the whole week's done now, I'm not going to do anything, I'm there to be able to say, okay, we haven't done it today, but we can fit it in here, or, you know, reduce your steps and we'll do this instead. So that's what fueled coaching is for. It's just to make sure that everyone gets what they need to, and sees the benefits. And I think initially, if you've not been in a gym, your body screams at you to stop because it's something totally different. You'll find you're aching everywhere. You're not used to how that feels. But then if you get past that, and it's only a couple of weeks it takes, then the amount of people that are like, oh my God, you know, that feels so good. I can lift that weight now, whereas I couldn't lift anything. And I can, you know, my shopping, I can get up or run around with the grandkids, things like that. So the benefits that everyone see, I don't think there's anyone that said to me, feel worse. You know, it's amazing. And like I say, for women hitting the menopause, it's so important. And even if you're doing cardio is great. Cardiovascular activity should be featured in your routine as well. But lifting weights is what's going to make you grow older in a much better way, without, you know, sort of back pains and back issues, and losing that muscle mass and that bone density. And so people don't want to look like me, you know, and a lot of people come up to me, they're like, I don't want to look like you. I'm like, don't worry, you won't look like me, but it will preserve that muscle mass, because otherwise, if you don't preserve it, you're going to lose it, and that's where the issues come. So yeah, so it's really nice, and I love being able to help people, and how it then like impacts their mood as well, because it's a lot of mental. The benefits you get as well aren't just the physical benefits; it is the mental benefits that you find as well, which is lovely.
Is it always a bad thing when people say they don't want to look like you? I don't know. Like,
I understand.
Like
I understand
or...
as a female, it's, you know, it's not the norm to look the way that I look, but for me, it's my norm. You know, to me, I look small. I want to be bigger, you know, but other people, it's just weird that people find everyone has an opinion on us female bodybuilders. But I wouldn't have an opinion, you know. It's not as if I go up to someone that I think's maybe overweight and think, oh, you know, you should do something there. It's just people tend to think that they've got that, they can have that opinion with us.
Yeah, you know, it'd be like that. You know, like, even like if you admire them, you know, people look at you kind of strange. You know, I've heard, you know, from a friend that, you know, they like people question him about his sexuality. Yeah, so
yeah, I've had people say to me as well before, like, you're not a woman, what are you? But
yeah.
you know, I just take it with a pinch of salt, so it doesn't bother me or make me upset. You know, I'm happy now with who I am, and I don't feel like I have to, you know, hide. Well, you can't really hide it when you're sort of walking around, but I love this life, and like I said, I'm not gonna change it for anyone now, and it's me. And I think you know, a lot of my family don't agree with it and don't like it. I'm lucky that my kids, you know, I think they probably see me as normal now. This is me. I've been, you know, like that for years. So they don't see anything. They quite like it, you know, when their friends say, was that your mum? But a lot of other people, find it strange. But like I said, in the gym that I work in, everyone's amazing, and even the women are like, even though they know that they personally wouldn't want to look like me, they appreciate the hard work that it takes to get there. And you know, they see me training and think, oh, you know, like how they couldn't do that, because a lot of people, you know, when they train, that uncomfortableness is where they stop, but that's where you need to then keep going to build. So it's hopefully a lot of people, I think, take positives from it, but you're always going to have those people that just think we're freaks, and they'll quite happily come up and tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like that, you know. I really don't got no answer for it, because you know, I've been going through that a lot. You know, I'm not gonna lie. There's times, you know, I have mixed feelings about female bodybuilders a bit, you know, because sometimes it's not so much of the appearance, it's the personality, you know.
Yeah, no, we've just got to be like, if we're comfortable within ourselves, and everyone, you know, everyone's got to live their life how they want to. And I've definitely found out through doing this last prep that I found myself. And like, I'll be 47 soon. My children are sort of grown up and doing their thing. And I was at a bit of a loss. I was like, well, I'm always going to be a mum, but I'm not needed as I was. And I've got 2 young grandchildren that I dote on, but I still needed to find something for me. And like I said, I've always trained, but not to the extent of sort of doing a prep again. And when I started it, I just found myself, and that was when I was at my happiest. So for me, doing like living 100% this life as a bodybuilder and being happy and open with that, that's making me happy, rather than thinking, oh, I can't really do that, I can't really say that, or I shouldn't really do that because of someone else's opinion. Whereas now I sort of don't give a monkeys, and I think that's me, and people can take it or leave it. We're not doing any harm to anyone, we're just doing our thing, and if that affects someone else or they don't like it, then that's their issue, it's not mine.
Yeah. Let me read this. I got a friend here, Oliver A. George Page. It's biology that truly separates men from women in bodybuilding. And he says, society always have their standards of what is beauty. Yeah. I mean, I think you're a very attractive woman. Yeah, you have a nice physique. I know you probably get that a lot. At times, I know probably guys DM you and stuff and say some crazy things and all that type of stuff.
No, I don't get too many, and I don't know. It's weird as well when you're a bodybuilder. To me, when you look at a physique, you don't tend to look at it as like attractive or that. You tend to look at the muscle structure. It's really weird. Or like, oh, I'd love their delts, or I'd love, a back like that, or their glutes. It's just, you just look at, the body differently. So yeah, of course you get some sort of strange comments and things, but like I was saying when I was on George's podcast, it is just, it's one of those things, it's part and parcel of it. And I just appreciate all the comments and the positiveness that I get. And it is predominantly people being positive and really appreciative of the hard work that it takes. And then, like I say, it's my choice to want to build this amount of muscle and then keep going and building more. The same for other sort of WPD athletes or women's bodybuilding. And we are in a minority. There's not many of us. But that's something that suits us, and then we'll just, we'll keep going. It's like other people that decide that they want to.
Can I ask you something? What's your limit? Because, I know like there's bodybuilders, I've heard that, they can't really do much at a certain point with all that muscle.
Yeah, that's why I do mobility. So I'm really focused on like doing daily mobility, because I found that I used to be able to do things like the splits, and I used to be a marathon runner. So
yeah,
run long distances. Obviously the weight now is totally different. So, running, I can't do, I wouldn't even attempt to do it, but I'm really working hard on my mobility, because I've got young grandchildren as well. And, my other kids, when they have children, I want to be a nan that can run around with them, and, crawl around on the floor with them and go to soft play and things, which I do. I just need to make sure that I can. So as long as I'm healthy and like in mobility wise, I don't ever want to have to ask my kids to tie my shoelaces or something like that. If I ever got to a point like that, I'd be like, right, Laura, that's ridiculous, So it's a case of just making sure that I keep on top of my mobility, like which I do now. So yeah, and swimming and things like that. So just making sure that I do the, as well as bodybuilding, I do the stuff on the other side to make sure that it's like the yin and yang, and I'm compensating.
Yeah. When so you was in France, like you spoke the language?
Yes, that's my business is French translations.
Okay.
And admin, so all admin for people living in France, and court translations and things, legal translations. So we were out there for 18 years.
Say that again. 18 years?
Yeah, 18 years we lived out there.
How was it in France like for you?
It was great. It was great for the kids. It was I had a gym out there, so I part owned a gym. That's where I sort of got into bodybuilding. I also had like a bookshop and things, so I did loads out there. I worked for an accountancy firm, did loads of jobs, and we lived in a little village where all the villagers used to get together and do all the cooking together and things. So it was a great life. And then we moved to the beach, so the kids had a really good life and upbringing. But it was just when they grew older, we needed to move back for them, one going into the Navy, the military, and another one wanted to go to uni. So it was they had to be UK resident for that to happen. So we came back. But it was a great life for them growing up, totally different to what it was like in the UK. They used to have like 3 or 4 course meals at school, the children, and naps and things. So it was a really good life. And bodybuilding out there, what in France, they're sort of, people say they're 15-20 years behind what they are in the UK.